The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And I figured it out. I have absolutely no idea if you can hear me or not. I love technology. Somebody tell me if you can hear me or not. Yeah, somebody said woo. I'm going to go with that means you can hear me. That was a pain in the ass. Sweet. All right, fuck it. Fire questions at me. I don't have any graphics. I don't have any shit, and I'm dressed like Forrest Gump. So let's do this. Holy God. I hate technology with every fiber of my soul. But I finally figured it out. We may not have a show tomorrow because nothing in this building may work outside of how I just did this. But I am here to give all the fantasy goodness. And I've set all my lineups because I got pissed off and didn't fuck with it for about 20 minutes. So, any fantasy questions you have for me, feel free to fire them at me. If any of you stuck around to actually watch this. Matthew Hoffman said we're finally live. You don't realize how much gnashing of teeth there was in this studio. Good Lord, have mercy. All right, I figure we'll just go game by game. It's going to be a little clunky because I didn't have time to load graphics because you fuck technology. Biggest play, and Michael White said, I know you said DFS plays. Let me walk you through how I did my DFS lineups today. All the Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is in every lineup I have, and I don't see how you play any other tight end. With no Calvin Ridley, he might have 900 yards today. And before anybody asks, I do not know what's going on with Calvin Ridley. I found out when you did. So I know he's been having some form of personal issues. That's what they're attributing this to. So, I hope whatever it is gets sorted out. I don't know anything beyond that. I saw a slew of fantasy questions in the comments when I was desperately trying to make this work. So, if you have anything, feel free to fire it at me. Running backs today. I'm going high on running back. I have a couple low-end, cheap as piss receivers that I like. Pull Pat McAfee. I mean, I could call Pat. He wouldn't answer, but I could call him. I like Quez Watkins a lot today. Don't ask me why. I don't have a real good reason for that, other than the fact somebody's going to do it, and I don't feel like it's Devontae Smith. Rob Johnson asked Javonte Williams or Michael Carter. Don't play any Jet for any reason. I don't care who it is. If the option is play a Jet or leave it blank, leave it fucking blank. There is not a Jet you want today. No Corey Davis. I don't really. Chidobe Awuzie is going to be on Elijah Moore for the vast majority of this game. I hate Elijah Moore. Mike White's bad at football. The Bengals might win today by 90. If the Bengals can, however many points the Bengals want to score, that's how many points they will score. I don't think they will run this up because they don't have to. So I'm not heavy on Jamar Chase. I'm okay with, I mean, if you have him in season long, obviously you're playing him. I'm not rushing out to get him in DFS. Michael Carter will be the check down king. Yeah, here's the problem. Mike White can't throw check downs. Mike White can't do shit. Mike White would screw up a blowjob. No matter which end of it he was on. He is bad at football. How he is our backup quarterback, I have absolutely no freaking idea. I mean, was Brad Johnson busy? Now Joe Flacco. Fuck Joe Flacco. Oh, another cheap receiver, Tyler Johnson. I'm all the way in on cheap receivers if you're playing on DraftKings today. I like Tyler Johnson, I like Quez Watkins. Michael Pittman and Deontay Johnson are my two favorite wide receivers if you're going a little higher. Callaway or Samaje Perine. I don't love either one. If Tyler Johnson's available in your league, I would go pick him up and play him. I like him better than both of them. Thoughts on Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor going against each other? I think they limit each other to a point. If I'm playing and I toyed with Jonathan Taylor for an extended period of time, there's just running backs I like better. James Robinson. If you don't play James Robinson today, you did it wrong. If you're playing on DraftKings and you don't find a way to get James Robinson in your lineup, I don't know what you're doing with your life. He might have 40 fantasy points today. And I like Marvin Jones in that game as well. And obviously, Derrick Henry's just a man. I have a funny feeling that they're going to try to load up the box to stop him, which will, if I'm playing a Titan in DFS, it's A.J. Brown. Michael Pittman or Deontay Johnson, both. I don't know who your other receiver is, but Deontay Johnson's my 1 this week, and Michael Pittman's like my 8. There are not many receivers you could have that I would start over the two of them. I mean, if you've got Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson, that's the only two I can readily remember being ahead of them. I actually have Michael Pittman ahead of Jamar Chase today, solely because I think that game's a blowout. No Jamal Williams today. That was another thing that I had prepped for this. No Jamal Williams. I know that, no T. Higgins. T. Higgins is not even in the ballpark of the other two you just said. DeAndre Swift. He's never had more than 21 touches in a game, and he's done that 3 times. I think that's his floor today. That's a running back I can't get away from no matter what I do. DeAndre Swift, James Robinson, and some combination of Cordero Patterson, Jonathan Taylor. That's who my third is almost invariably. Havoc asks, what's my costume? I am running Forrest Gump. You can't see the shorts, and there's really no way for me to show it on camera, but I do have on the little short red shorts. I wore these to a Halloween party last night, which probably didn't help any of the technical issues that I had this morning. Probably didn't help that I was recovering off one hell of a bender. All right, I'm going to go game by game. I know I have these prepped. It'll take me a minute to get them on the screen, but... Game by game, first game, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Jets. As I said, this is going to be disgusting and gross. I'm not really avoiding any Bengal per se, but I'm not rushing out to play them in DFS solely because I could see this being a blowout. Joe Mixon, I don't think they're going to run him into the ground today. Samaje Perine, if you're absolutely desperate, could be a play today. This game's going to be 21-0 fast because they will score quickly, and I could easily see it being dispersed. Jamar Chase will draw Bryce Hall, who is without a doubt the best corner on this team. I could see this being a Tyler Boyd game. The Jets are good in the slot, but that's actually one of the few things they're good at. But Joe Burrow is just going to pick them apart. Michael Whiteside asked, who's my quarterback on DraftKings? I can't get away from Matt Ryan because he's so cheap. If you wanted to go contrarian, I don't mind Carson Wentz. I kind of like stacking Wentz with Michael Pittman, and you could even go Jonathan Taylor if you wanted to. D. Harris, I'm assuming you're talking about Damian Harris or Elijah Mitchell. I'll go Damian Harris. The LA Chargers are god-awful against the run, and that is the only way the Patriots can keep this game close. If you told me how many yards Damian Harris had in this game, I would tell you what the score of this game was. If it's less than 75, they got blown out. 75 to $110, it was probably close-ish. If he doesn't have over 110 yards, they have no shot of winning this game. By the way, all right, let's just fade over to that game since it's come up. I've heard this narrative about 900 times, and I don't for the life of me understand it. There seems to be a push to play Jacoby Myers today, which doesn't make a lick of sense to me. He's going to draw Chris Harris, which is not an ideal matchup for him. I don't like anything passing attack-wise for the New England Patriots today. For the Chargers, I'm all of it. Austin Eckler is going to be really popular. I'm not sure that I love that. I haven't found a way to get him in a DraftKings lineup yet. So there's just other running backs that I like. Rob Johnson asked, is Devontae Smith worth a flex play today? I don't hate it. I mean, I've seen you could do markedly worse. Philadelphia will do nice things. I'm not super in on Kenny Gainwell. I saw that question in the chat when I was trying to figure out a way to get the damn camera on. I'm not against it, but I don't love it. If I was ranking Philadelphia Eagle plays today, I would say Quez Watkins is one because they are really bad against deep shots, and Quez Watkins is the deep guy. That's really the only reason I'm so in on him. Jalen Hurts will be fine. If you have him in season long, obviously you're playing him. Not rushing out to do it on DraftKings. But other than that, I'm not. In the Rams-Eagles game, I like DeAndre Swift. I don't like any of the receiving options. Hawkinson's obviously a play in season long. Not somebody I'm rushing out to get in DFS today. The game that and I know this is going to be a popular game. It's Falcons-Panthers. DJ Moore is a play. I still can't find a way to get to Robbie Anderson. He's just been so absolutely unbelievably bad. DJ Moore is going to eat today. This is going to be a shootout. There's no way this game doesn't go over. I think the over-under was like 50 or 49 and a half or something like that. There's no way this game doesn't go over. I like damn near everything for the Falcons that's not named Mike Davis. Sweet Lord, that was a bad call for me in the offseason. Cordero Patterson is absolutely the running back you want. And on DraftKings, I can't figure out how you don't go Matt Ryan, Cordero Patterson, Kyle Pitts. I know it will be chalky, but I don't really care. Matt Ryan, I think his floor today is 25. Kyle Pitts is going to be a nightmare. I don't care if it's Jeremy Chin. I don't care if it's Shaq Thompson. He's just the biggest matchup nightmare in this league at this point. He's built like a gigantic tight end and runs like a receiver. There's just no way to defend him. And at 60, I think he's 6,100 on DraftKings. You're getting a wide receiver one for a high-end tight end price. I mean, just looking at the numbers, let me pull up receivers here on DraftKings. You're getting Kyle Pitts for the price of Tyler Lockett. Just why would you not do that? I mean, as the tight end whisperer, I feel like I have to give another tight end play. If I was going cheap, it'd be Pat Freiermuth. If I had to just go unbelievably cheap at tight end for some reason, it would be Pat Freiermuth. Nothing else in Carolina and Atlanta that I'm overly excited about. Chuba Hubbard, I've seen that name a lot. It goes to game script, and I just don't. I don't feel like you're going to be able to run Chuba Hubbard 20 times and keep up in this game. Anytime you get behind the chains, it puts the onus on Sam Darnold, and they're going to do everything in their power to avoid that. So Chuba will have a decent enough game. Not somebody I'm running out to play in DFS, but if you have him in season long, I do like Chuba today. The one weather game that I think we're going to have is Miami-Buffalo. Josh Allen owns the Miami Dolphins. I know that Aaron Rodgers said it about the Bears. Josh Allen should be saying this about the Miami Dolphins. If you're going really expensive at quarterback on DK or FanDuel, I do like Josh Allen today. Weapon-wise, I'm not running out to get Emmanuel Sanders. I don't know how they're going to stop Stephon Diggs. I haven't seen what the weather looks like, but everything leading into this said it was going to rain. So I think that game's going to be gross. It's going to start raining and then taper off as the game goes on. It's just going to be a slick field, gross, nasty. I don't want anything for the Miami Dolphins. I'm totally out on everything Dolphin in this game. But play your Bills. If you want to play Josh Allen on DraftKings, I wouldn't fault you for that. A game that I'm somehow finding only one piece that I like, in spite of the fact that I think it's going to be high scoring, is Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I don't really like anything for Cleveland. Anthony Schwartz is a cheap dart throw. If you just absolutely are killed at wide receiver, I could see getting to Anthony Schwartz. No Donovan Peoples-Jones. Odell Beckham is active for this game, but I don't think he's going to be heavily involved. They're just using him as such a specialty piece at this point. His snap counts suck. I don't mind Jarvis Landry. The piece that I really want is Deontay Johnson. He's the receiver that I'm seemingly playing in every DraftKings lineup because I do not know how they're going to stop him, and he's going to get a ton of Denzel Ward, and that sounds way better than it actually is. Denzel Ward is the worst corner in that secondary. As weird as that sounds to say, he is the one that gives up the most fantasy points by a lot. And I think you're going to see a ton of him on Deontay Johnson. Najee Harris, obviously, in season long is a play, not somebody I'm running out to play in DraftKings. There are just better options at running back. I go back to DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, any of those guys. San Francisco and Chicago, I'll talk about this for 5 seconds. There's not really anybody I care about. Debo, you're playing him if you have him. Allen Robinson is droppable in season long. I don't love him today. I haven't seen if Jimmy Graham's going to play. He was on the Rona list. I don't know if he got cleared. Cole Kmet's just been so bad that even if Jimmy Graham doesn't play, I can still do better than Cole Kmet. We talked about the Lions and the Eagles. Tennessee, Indianapolis. This has sneaky shootout written all over it to me. And there's not pieces that I'm just drunk on. I do like Michael Pittman. I do like Jonathan Taylor. Not trying to cram Derrick Henry in lineups today. But A.J. Brown. If I'm playing a Titan today, it's A.J. Brown. If you think this game's going to go really high scoring, really over the top, then A.J. Brown would be the play that I would be on. Not a whole, Ryan Tannehill, I guess. Carson Wentz is a good dart throw in DFS because he's really cheap, 5,700. I can't find a way to not just pay the 200 extra for Matt Ryan because I think his floor is so much higher. But I would say there is a possibility that Carson Wentz throws for 400 yards in this game. If they get behind, he's going to throw a lot. That Tennessee defense is not good, and I've said all week long, this game screams letdown to me. So I'm taking the Colts. I think they're going to win this game, and I would say this game goes over the number. Sneaky good DFS game. I just can't really figure out who it is that I would want. The Rams and the Houston Texans. This is probably a Darrell Henderson get-right game. If you got burned by him last week, his ownership will be stupidly low on DraftKings, just solely because of the never again. He screwed you last week against a bad team. The fear that he'll screw you again. I don't really care. The piece that everybody seems to want in this game is Brandon Cooks, and I can't figure out why. He's had one double-digit point game with Davis Mills. Davis Mills will start in this game. I will be more on Brandon Cooks next week when Tyrod Taylor comes back. Running back, I've been asked who the running back for this team is going to be. I don't see how it's not David Johnson. It shouldn't be, but it will be. You'll probably see Philip Lindsay get into the 12-ish touches range. I picked him up in a few really deep leagues. I don't want to play him today. David Johnson's going to catch a shitload of balls. So you could do worse than, I think he's $4,100 on DraftKings. He's $100 more than the minimum. So if you need a real cheap play, I could see getting to David Johnson just solely for catches. I think his floor is 6 catches today. He's not going to run for a ton of yards because this team doesn't run, but they'll be behind. Not a lot of weapons. I'm not in on Brandon Cooks. I have a funny feeling Brandon Cooks is going to see a ton of Jalen Ramsey. I'm good. There are too many other receivers that are in that price point. Too many that are readily available. Like I have Tyler Johnson ahead of Brandon Cooks this week for season long. Just why? I have Brandon Cooks in a league and I'm starting Cordero Patterson at receiver over him. And I would have played a litany of other guys over him as well. I'm not I'm not super in on Brandon Cooks. I just think this game's going to be gross. Matthew Hoffman asked, how am I feeling about Jerry Jeudy? If I'm playing a Denver Bronco receiver today, it's Jerry Jeudy. And I will tell you, I'm playing no Denver Broncos, and my favorite lineup constructions on DraftKings have the Washington football team's defense. I think you will see one run of what we thought Washington's defense would be. They're going to be able to get after Teddy Bridgewater. They don't really have a lot that scares me. I mean, they have good weapons, but I'm not overly concerned that Washington's just going to get crushed in this game. Tank like Denver, and I can't for the life of me understand why. I've seen several questions about Antonio Gibson. He had no injury designation today, which means there was never a shot of him not playing, which I still feel like his workload's going to be a little constricted. I don't hate J.D. McKissick. If you have Antonio Gibson, you kind of have to play him. But I don't feel great about it. I could see the Washington football team's defense scoring 2 touchdowns today. And by the way, they're the second cheapest defense on DraftKings. It was the free spot on the board for me, was the Washington football team's defense. Any games that I have not talked about? Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I think I've said Tyler Johnson's name enough times that when he has 100 yards today, and I think he will, I can say, hey, I told you so. Mike Evans does not do well against Marshawn Lattimore for whatever reason. Paulson Adebo is going to be on Tyler Johnson. I see him playing out of the slot a lot, and Chris Godwin playing on the outside. That makes me that's the reason I'm so in on Tyler Johnson. One of my favorite game stacks is to play Jameis Winston with Alvin Kamara and Tyler Johnson on the other side with Leonard Fournette. That's a bulky game stack if you just really want to have a lot of this game. The games I'm stacking in order are Atlanta, Carolina is the biggest stack for me. Indianapolis, Tennessee would be 2. This would be 3. Detroit, Philly would be 4. And the stacks for each of those, Matt Ryan, DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts, Cordero Patterson in Atlanta, Carolina, Taylor, A.J. Brown, Carson Wentz in Indy and Tennessee. This game I would go Jameis, Kamara, Tyler Johnson, Fournette. If I'm stacking the Lions and the Eagles, I would go Jalen Hurts, Quez Watkins, and DeAndre Swift. I'm invariably stacking a game. Those are the 4 that I've stacked the most often. Tonight, Dallas Cowboys, Minnesota Vikings. It does not look like Dak Prescott will play. I saw this asked multiple times in the comments. Don't play Cooper Rush under any circumstance. If you have Dak Prescott, just assume he's not going to play. Whatever that means, quarterbacks that you could pick up for this week, low-owned guys. Let me look at my rankings for this week. Quarterbacks that I would be in on over Dak today, Taylor Heineke, if you can get him in a league. If he's still available in your league, he's a guy that I would play over Dak Prescott. I would play Jameis Winston over Dak Prescott. Sam Darnold. You get to Jared Goff before I'm willing to just chance it. But if you're going to do that, I would really like it if you had Daniel Jones, because you will be completely out of options. But I do not think he's going to play. Any questions from the chat before I get out of here? Anything you have, I will answer. You can also feel free to message me on Twitter, at @JGreenESPN. I haven't seen anything since I came on live. I haven't seen anything that's really caught my attention. So rankings earlier in the week hold. Whew. I always give out a DraftKings lineup. I'm going to give out the one that I am absolutely scattered, smothered, and covered on. As I've said, I'm playing Matt Ryan. I'm stacking him with Cordero Patterson. I'm stacking him with Kyle Pitts. Running backs are DeAndre Swift, Patterson, as I said, James Robinson. Receiver, Deontay Johnson, Quez Watkins. It's the other spot that I get a little dicey at. What I really want is Michael Pittman, but I can't find a way to get him in. The only way that it really works is if you dumb down DeAndre Swift to Darrell Henderson, Damian Harris, somebody like that. I would personally rather have DeAndre Swift and just take a flyer on a $5,000 receiver. Guys in that area, T.Y. Hilton. I'm not completely off T.Y. Hilton. He is active. He had a quad injury. I'm a little afraid that you're not going to see a ton of him. He only had 4 targets in the one game that he's played. So that makes me a little nervous. I would much rather have Michael Pittman, but I just can't find a way to get there. The defense, by the way, is the Washington football team. If there was anything that I was going to fade off of that, I could see a path at running back that I didn't play DeAndre Swift. I wasn't really on him until Jamal Williams was out, and the only other running back on the team is Jamar Jefferson. So I just see I think his floor is 20 touches, that many touches against that bad of a linebacking core, as many receptions as he's going to have, as many times as they get him out in space. He's just a guy, I don't see how you don't play him. If you wanted to shoehorn Michael Pittman into your lineup, as I kind of do, your flex options would get, I don't hate Chris Godwin. I'm actually, now that I'm looking at it, that's actually probably exactly how I would do that. Play Chris Godwin instead of Tyler Johnson, because he very easily, he's had 11 targets in 2 of his last 3 games. I would much rather have 3 running backs, but there's not really a cheap one that I can get to. David Johnson, if you just absolutely wanted to do that. Rob Johnson asked in the comments, would I play the Washington defense over Carolina? 100 times yes. I would not touch Carolina today. That game's going to be shootouty. That's first to 40 wins. And I really believe, I could honestly see that being 3 punts in the entire game. I'm in Carolina right now, so I can tell you the weather's not that bad. It's a little brisk, but there's no wind, there's no rain. Perfect conditions for a shootout. I just realized I can get Chris Godwin in this lineup, and it makes me very, very happy. With Chris Godwin, that leaves 5,300. You're in that Kenny Gainwell tier. Washington D or the 49ers. I have Washington as my number 1 this week. San Francisco, I think, is my 4. Justin Fields is good for 2 turnovers a game. So, invariably, any defense that plays against Chicago, as long as Justin Fields is the starter, is going to be a play. I would rather play Washington today. I see a path. Teddy Bridgewater is one of those quarterbacks that when it comes off the rails, it goes off the rails badly. And I could see Chase Young getting after him today. So I would say Washington, but it is very close. All right, I appreciate y'all bearing with me. I'm going to get out of here. I will leave the chat up, so if you have more questions, I'll be here for the next 30 minutes answering them live. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with me. Tank will be back in the morning. Hopefully, we can figure out a way to put this back together from how I have deconstructed it. Good luck and happy gambling.